Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Gujarat Fluorochemicals Q4 FY2022 earnings conference call hosted by DAM Capital Advisors Limited. As a reminder, this call will be recorded. There will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing the star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Nitin Agarwal. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thanks, Peter. Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to Gujarat Fluorochemicals post-results earnings call after Q4 results hosted by DAM Capital Advisors Private Limited. On the call today representing Gujarat Fluorochemical Management, we have Mr. Vivek Jain, Managing Director, Dr. Bir Kapoor, Chief Executive Officer, Mr. VK Soni, Head Projects and New Initiatives, Mr. Manoj Agarwal, Chief Financial Officer, and Mr. Vibhu Agarwal, Head Investor Relations. I'll hand over the call now to Mr. Manoj Agarwal from the management team to take it forward from here on. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, Nitin. On behalf of Gujarat Fluorochemicals Limited, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all participants. We are happy to inform that Board of Directors of Gujarat Fluorochemicals Limited has at its board meeting approved the financial results for the company for Q4 22. The financial results are uploaded on the website of the stock exchanges, both BSE and NSE, as well as the website of the company. We have also uploaded the earning presentation for Q4 FY22. I will take you through this presentation initially, and then we can open the call for any questions that you all might have. Starting with the highlights for the financial year 22, the consolidated revenue for FY22 was at 3954 crores as compared to 2651 crores for FY21, that is up by 49% on a year-to-year basis. Consolidated EBITDA for FY22 stood at 1198 crores as against 638 crores for FY21, up by 88% on year-on-year basis. The EBITDA margins for FY22 clocked at 30%. For FY22, this was at 24%, up 6 basis points. Consolidated PAT for FY22 was 775 crores as against 355 crores for FY21, that is up by 118% on year-on-year basis. Another operational highlights are company has commenced export of R142B and R125. Lithium-ion battery chemical projects under construction and progressing as per schedule. Other new projects and additional capacity announced earlier are also progressing as per schedule. Now we would like to give you the detailed overview of the financial performance during the quarter for each of the components. Consolidated revenue for the quarter Q4 FY22 stood at 1074 crores, which is 28% higher than the revenues for Q4 FY21, which were at 840 crores. EBITDA for Q4 FY22 stood at rupees 331 crores as compared to 195 crores in Q4 FY21, up by 70%. As far as PAT is concerned, PAT for Q4 FY22 is at 217 crores, up 97% from Q4 FY21, which were at rupees 1110 crores. So this was the brief financial overview of the company for the quarter-on-quarter basis at the aggregate level. Now, if you look at the performance of the various business verticals, caustic soda revenue for Q4 FY22 stood at rupees 169 crores as compared to 82 crores in Q4 FY21, up 106%. The caustic soda plants were running at the full capacities during the quarter, barring plants annual shutdown, which was taken by the company during the quarter. As we have mentioned in the earlier call also, the caustic soda prices, which were increased sharply during the last quarters, have now been stabilized. There has been increase in the cost because of elevated energy prices. Chloromethane revenues for Q4 FY22 stood at 91 crores as compared to same numbers in Q4 FY21, that is almost flat. Chloromethane revenues during the quarter, when compared to the previous quarter of Q3 FY22, is down by 38% from 146 crores on sequential basis. This is essentially due to the prices of MTC, which were peaked out in Q3, have been moderated in Q4. As indicated in the previous earning calls also, prices are likely to be impacted going forward as additional domestic capacity are expected to be commissioned. Refrigerant revenues for Q4 FY22 stood at rupees 78 crore, which was 93 crores in Q4 FY21, thus having a marginal degrowth of 16%. But demand is expected to start extending from Q1 FY23. Company has also started export of R125, which is going to expect to grow going forward. PTFE sales for Q4 FY22 were at 451 crores as compared to 290 crores in Q4 FY21, up 56%, gaining significantly on account of rise in both prices and volume due to robust demand across all geographies and applications. Company has also planned the capacity augmentation in line with the demand growth. As regard to new polymer vertical is concerned, new fluoropolymer sales were at 183 crores, up 59% as compared to 115 crores in the same quarter previous year, that is Q4 FY21. Capacity utilization during the quarter was dented by the availability of TFE due to plant shutdown, which was not available for the feedstock for micropowders. The overall capacity utilization for new fluoropolymer verticals in Q4 FY22 was around 65% on account of limited availability of R142B. However, from Q1 FY23, with own stable 142B production, the capacity utilization is expected to improve further. And we also expect to reach almost full capacity utilization by end of Q1 FY23. There is substantial increase in demand for FKM, PVDF and micropowders, which will be met with the additional capacity expected to be commissioned over next 2 quarters. As already indicated earlier, company has also commenced export of R142B and VDF, specialty chemical verticals, which was hampered due to a fire incident, is down by 38% from 92 crores to 57 crores when compared on same quarter previous year, Q4 FY21. Production and sales during Q4 FY21 marginally improved from the previous quarter, which was impacted with fire incident. 3 new plants are expected to be commissioned by Q1 FY23. The commissioning of these plants, which was expected in Q4 FY21, have been delayed due to supply chain issues. We envisage further increase in revenues from Q2 FY23 with the new plants getting operational. Thus, the company has posted an all-round growth in most of the business verticals, surpassing the revenues and profit achieved in FY21 by substantial margin. As regards to operating efficiencies, capital operating efficiencies, the ROC is improved from 11.92% to 24.48%, and ROE is improved from 9.87% to 20.1% as compared to FY21. ROC is expected to further improve given the higher margins from the incremental sales of existing as well as new product profiles. On the debt front, company is virtually debt-free with net debt equity ratio reduced to 0.26 from 0.33 in FY21. We intend to reduce this further so as to be a zero-debt company in near future. Our continuous focus and efforts has resulted in reduction of working capital cycle from 168 days as on 31st March 21 to 128 days as on 31st March 2022. Company has further increased its planned capital expenditure outlay by around 300 to 400 crores during FY23 to meet the increased demand. We expect all these initiatives to offer a sustained business growth over the foreseeable future with higher margin will lead to further improvement in our financial performance. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is a walkthrough to the presentation. I would now like to open this up for any questions that you might have that we will try to answer. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Our first question is from the line of Sanjesh Jain with ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for providing this opportunity. A few questions from my side. First on the capex guidance. So for FY23, we have earlier said that we will incur 900 crores of capex, which I think we have revised it to 1150 crores. It's an increase of 250 crore. Can you walk us to what is the incremental investment going into, which are the products? That's number one. Number two, it will be very helpful if you can give us 1150 crores of capex. What are the things which we can expect to commercialize in FY23, and what are the commercialization pending from the FY22? So just wanted to understand what are the capacities we expect to commission in FY23. That's first on the capex side. I'll ask the question as we go. It will be helpful if you can answer this first.
Okay, thank you. Regarding the capex, a rough breakup of 1150 crore against 900 crore we told earlier. There was an increase of 250 crore because of some of the tests we have advanced from the following year, FY24, because of the increase in the market. So roughly the breakup would be, it includes specialty chemicals including lithium complex, which is about 300 crore. It includes new fluoropolymers, including new age fluoropolymers going into film for the solar. That's about 300 crore. And we also have backward integration into VDC as well as some refrigerants capacity, and so this is about 250 crore, and the balance about 300 crore is for wind power and miscellaneous debottlenecking. Thank you.
Okay, so we don't expect anything to spend on PTFE during FY23 because I think we are running at a full capacity there, right?
Yes, PTFE is covered under the debottlenecking which I mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah, as I mentioned last time, we are debottlenecking capacity by about 20%, so that is covered in that investment. That's not a different new plant, it is just debottlenecking.
Okay. Thanks for that. Second one on the R142B and R125, which we said that we have already started exporting. It will be very helpful if you can provide what are the capacities do we have in our 125 and 142B that is sellable to the external market, and how much of that we think we will be able to place in FY23, considering that this is our first year for these products.
So, Sanjesh, 125, I will not be able to give you the exact capacities, but we are expecting that we will be able to export about 4,000 to 5,000 tons during this year.
Okay. Okay, that is a possibility. And on R142B, sir?
142B and VDF again would, PVDF exports will depend upon our own internal consumption. And as Mr. Soni mentioned that, we have preponed some of the investments in new fluoropolymers such as PVDF and FKM to this year because the demand is very strong. And to fulfill that demand, we have decided to prepone. So our own requirement for 142B will increase. To the extent that there is a gap between our own demand and our production capacity, we will continue to export both 142B as well as VDF. So I would expect that during the course of in the next 12 months, we should be exporting about equivalent to about 500 odd tons of 142B per month. From perhaps I would say August onwards, we should be in a position to export about 500 to 600 tons equivalent 142B.
Fair, sir, fair. And we are confident of having that VCM to VDC by then, right? And that will help us to produce more.
Yes, VCM to VDC, we should have it by March next year. We are trying to commission it by the end of this year, but we have in our own planning we have assumed it to be by March 23.
Fair, sir. One small bookkeeping question. What was the loss because of the incident in Ranjit Nagar? We have mentioned that we have claimed an insurance for 27 crore in the report. Plus, why there was such a large plant shutdown? And what was the total impact of this plant shutdown on the EBITDA for this quarter?
If you see, there is a two component to the overall insurance losses. One was your material damage, which is around to the tune of 43 crores.
Mm-hmm.
Other one was around business loss, which is due to interruption, that is around 27 crores. And there are some additional expenses which got incurred in terms of compensation, medical expenses, and other things to the tune of 7 crores. So these are the three figures which has impacted. As regards to material damages, there is no P&L impact because it is just removed from your block of the property, plant and equipment and moved to the insurance claim receivable.
Got it. And what was the impact of plant shutdown for the maintenance, which we have mentioned for quite a few plants in the presentation? What was the impact of that?
Yeah, because insurance policies normally have the compulsory deductible to the tune of 7 to 14 days, depending upon your size of the policy, whether it is a makeup policy or regular policy.
No. I'm not talking about that. I'm asking about the plant maintenance shutdown, which we took in quite a few plants.
For 7 days.
Okay.
7 to 10 days, and that impact may not be precisely computed actually. Because there are various stages of the shutdown, different plants and different products. So that may be our 7 to 10 days.
So I think, Sanjesh, what you are asking about is the plant shutdown on the TFE side, where there was an unplanned shutdown in TFE during this quarter, which resulted into some loss of production of PTFE.
Correct. That's what I was...
The quarter, yeah, that's right.
Okay. One last bit from my side. Now that we are running PTFE at a full capacity, is there any scope to debottleneck, squeeze in more PTFE capacity for FY23, or FY23 will predominantly, we will just ripe the benefit of the price hike which has been taken? So
we are working at debottlenecking, and I think that exercise will take us a couple of months. And subsequent to that, as Mr. Soni mentioned, we expect about 20% odd capacity increase, which would be about 200 to 300 tons per month additional PTFE available, which might happen from the last quarter of this financial year.
Fair, sir, fair. Thanks for patiently answering all the questions, and best of luck for coming quarter.
Thank you. Our next question is from line of Ketan Gandhi with Ambit Securities. Please go ahead.
Sir, as a follow-up on the previous question, that loss of business of 28 crore has been expensed out, or it is the balance sheet item? I mean, it has been reduced from the assets.
No, actually, loss of business is partly expensed out indirectly because we cannot record that around 14 days of your compulsory deductible. And partly we have recorded, and net of expenses will be 20 crores. So roughly 28 crores will be a loss, which is got indirectly built into the P&L, and 20 crore could be recouped because of FLOP policy.
So 28 crore is P&L item, and another 7 crore is also P&L item.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Sir, in January we have taken the price hike of the PTFE. So currently it is stable. I mean, the price hike is stable, or further increase is there in the PTFE price?
Yeah. So the prices which we have introduced in the last quarter, from January onwards, they have now more or less been accepted by the customers. So this quarter we will see the full impact coming in.
Great, sir. I have a few questions. I'll join back in the queue. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, in the interest of time and fairness to participants, we request you to limit questions to 2 per participant. Our next question is from the line of Vishal Prasad with VP Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening. It's good to see the kind of work that we are doing. I have 2-3 questions. So if we look at the new age industry verticals, specifically EV and hydrogen cells, these are the areas where it is extremely difficult for a new player to get in. Given the scale of capex that we are planning to do, I'm sure you guys will be having a plan that you will execute. But is it possible for you to help me properly understand what gives us the confidence that we will be able to sell our products? Who would be our customers, like battery manufacturers or some middlemen? What kind of contracts we would be having? Like if I look at PTFE or current things that we are doing in North America, we have short-term contracts. We do not get into long-term contracts. So in battery chemicals, are we looking at long-term contracts? So, and any other thing that will help me understand whatever you have in mind, that will be really helpful.
Well, eventually in battery chemicals, we will get into some kind of long-term contracts, though at this point of time, it's still too early for us to say anything beyond that. Our plant will, as you said, will probably be commissioned by the end of this year, and will take maybe a quarter or 2 for the product quality to get stabilized and getting the initial approvals from customers. But we would expect that, and from whatever initial discussions which we've had with potential customers, they would be looking for longer-term contracts there.
Yeah, that could be on contracts, but are we selling our products directly to the end battery manufacturers, or we will be going through somebody else who will be the prime?
No, for PVDF, we will be going to directly to battery manufacturers, and for battery chemicals, we will go through companies which are putting up electrolyte manufacturing facilities in US and Europe. In India, we will make electrolytes and supply directly to battery manufacturers.
So in a typical supply chain, like if they have to get a new vendor like us, how much time generally they take to approve a new vendor, and how does the scale-up happen for the battery chemicals?
See, the time it could take is 3 to 6 months for qualifications. And the scale-up, we are all aware what is going to happen as far as demand is concerned on batteries. So from 24 onwards, we are expecting large capacities to come up in Europe, US, and of course the Indian battery capacity will come up too. So in the years to come, I think there will be a rapid increase in demand for the products which we are offering for batteries.
Sure. And two small questions. One, I mean, we are doing a lot of capex, and I understand that there's a lot of inflation happening. And so, what impact does inflation have on our capex? Are our outflow going to increase?
Sorry, I didn't get your question right.
Yeah, so I understand there is a lot of inflation happening in raw materials. So if I look at the capex that we are doing in the next 2-3 years, it's a huge amount. So do we have a number in mind which we think, I mean, probably what will be the increase in capex because of inflation?
No, we have whatever numbers which we have given in are assuming current prices of equipment, steel, etc. So this is current pricing. We have already assumed current pricing.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Dhruv Muchal with HDFC Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir. Thank you so much. Sir, on this R125, I was just reading through some documents available on web. It seems our production route is using the TFE as an input, which is it seems is a bit different than the traditional route, or I'm not sure the other routes, which I believe uses the perf, which uses perchloroethylene. So is that right? And because we are using TFE, does it has some implication for the output of PTFE and the other downstream chains that we have in polymers?
No. Yes, we use TFE route for making 125, but we had a third TFE plant which we had commissioned about 2 years back, which was not fully utilized. So we have enough TFE capacity available to meet our 125 export plan.
Nice. Right. And you mentioned about 4,000 to 5,000 tons potential export. Yeah. And so it seems the refrigerant market is picking up quite a bit, and some of the other refrigerants are also picking up, the 32, 410 and others. You mentioned some comments about investing in refrigerant capacity. So, sir, are there any other plans? Are there any plans for some of the other refrigerants? As we are see 125, you already have R22 and some of the other refrigerants.
Where we are exploring the possibility, we might have some investment going into one of the existing refrigerants.
So the 300 crore, 250 crores that you mentioned for backward integration to VDC and refrigerant, does that the 250 crore investment you mentioned for backward integration into VDC and refrigerant capacity, this includes some of the new refrigerants, or that will come up later?
Actually, that included the debottlenecking of the existing refrigerants like R22 and for 125, etc. The new refrigerant which we are planning is just on the plan. We will form up the plans and then inform.
Sure, sir. And sir, one last question. I have more questions, but I'll then join the queue. Is it possible to share what was the effective utilization this quarter for PTFE?
This quarter? It
Yeah.
will be almost except for another TFE, one of the TFE plants which are going to be as part of a plant shutdown. It should be at about 90-95% of our existing capacity.
Sorry, sir, I mentioned Q4, the quarter gone by. Q4.
Oh, the quarter which is now. The quarter gone by, right, Dhruv?
Yeah, Q4 FY22.
As we announced, we had taken a shutdown in one of the TFE plants, so the quantity production of PTFE got impacted only to that extent. Otherwise, it's operating at full capacity.
Yeah, because even if I assume about 85% odd utilization, some random quick numbers, I get a PTFE realization of at least around $13 to $15. So I'm just trying to understand, is this a fair number to work with as we are going ahead and looking in the outlook for PTFE, or do you think this is a bit abnormal and there could be some relaxations here?
Sorry, what number did you say? 13?
$13 to $15 per kg.
Yeah, I think that number will stay. Maybe there might be some improvement, but that number will stay.
Because, sir, this is a decent improvement over the couple of quarters back. These are also, again, back of the envelope calculations.
Because the market has been fairly robust, and of course there has been some certain amount of cost push, but the grades which we have developed are in, the demand for those products is very strong, and that is the reason why it has enabled us to revise our prices upwards. The demand still continues to remain fairly strong.
Sure, sir. Nice. Thank you so much. And sir, I appreciate the dividend. Thank you so much. I'll join the queue. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Rohit Nagraj with MK Global. Please go ahead. Hello, Mr. Nagraj? He's left the queue. We'll take the next question from the line of Hansal Thakkar with Lalkar Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, and congratulations on another great quarter, sir, and thanks for the opportunity. Sir, quick question. Just wanted to know where are we in terms of our new age verticals, as in from the point of view of plant readiness, trial production, etc., for the electrolyte salt and the hydrogen PEMs. The solar, obviously, you mentioned will start next year. So if you could throw some light on this, I'll appreciate it.
Well, so starting with the battery chemicals for the EV batteries, our plant for the main salt LiPF6 is under construction. It should be ready by end of this year, and with validation, we should have commercial product ready in the first quarter of next calendar year. And regarding the other product, PVDF for the binder for cathode, the product is already available for sampling and validation has been in progress, and that product would be available for commercial sale in next 2 quarters. Other than this, our new age, as you mentioned rightly, the PVDF film, that will be commissioned next year, which is for the solar backsheet application. The other major project is the hydrogen proton exchange membrane for the electrolyzers and for the fuel cells. So there, the technology is under development, and it is the project has kicked off, but we will be keeping on advising you the progress. It is still under development of the technology. We expect as per our current estimate, expect the product to be ready for sampling by next 1 year.
Wonderful, sir. Thank you so much for the clarity, and truly we appreciate the dividend as well. And so just one follow-up question on the previous question. So would I be right in assuming that the steady state profit would include this amount of 2789 crores which we have suffered on account of loss of profits?
Yes, once we recoup all our plants are running up for a specialty chemical division, this will be automatically recouped.
Wonderful, sir. Thank you so much and all the best.
Thank you. Our next question is from Rohan with Edelweiss. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir, good evening. Sir, first question is on our fluoropolymer business. The capacity utilization was close to 65%, and you have mentioned that in Q1 itself, you are targeting full utilization. So just wanted to get some update that already almost 1.5 months is over. So how we are on the capacity utilization on fluoropolymer, and can we achieve 100% utilization, and or there is a further scope for taking it forward?
Yeah, that's right. So after the first quarter, we should almost be at full capacity utilization. And as I mentioned, we are putting up additional capacities for some of the fluoropolymers like FKM and PVDF, and the additional product from these further expansion will start coming in by the second quarter, from the second quarter onwards in this financial year.
And as of now, they are running at the current capacity is fully utilized. When you say fully utilized, is it 100% or it can go beyond that, sir?
Well, by the end of the second quarter, it would have gone beyond that, because additional capacity is, we are currently putting up additional capacities for PVDF and FKM.
Okay. Sir, second is on our Fluorospecialty Chemicals. There also we have mentioned that the 3 plants which were expected to actually commission in Q4 is now going to commission in Q1. Just wanted to understand that though the delay probably it's because of some supply chain issues which you mentioned in the presentation. Will this will be fully available from Q1 onward, or the customer trials will begin from Q1 and the ramp up of Fluorospecialty Chemicals will see during the year? And what is the revenue potential of these 3 plants commissioning in the Q1?
So out of these new products, some of the products are for backward integration. So there the ramp up would be, immediate, because we are already making those end products. Regarding the other products, the ramp up, as we know from experience, it takes a few quarters because of the sampling and the other processing. Although during the R&D, the samples were all approved, but from the actual commercial plant, we'll have to undergo 1 or 2 quarters of validation.
Sir, do I understand also for the integration, if you can give or throw some ballpark numbers, the total revenue potentials from this plant?
We had earlier also indicated number. We expect once our specialty chemical complex is fully on, we would expect a revenue of about 600 to 700 crores on an annual basis.
Okay. Also, just last question from my side, if I am allowed to ask, and I'll get back in the queue. Sir, on a chloromethane, you have mentioned that definitely the plant was impacted because of the annual shutdown which prolonged. But you have also mentioned that the current dynamics of chloromethane, because of the increasing competition, is seeing the fierce competition from in the domestic market. Do you see that it is going to impact the chloromethane business is going to be impacted in the current year? And what is the capacities which are coming in this market in chloromethane?
See, it's difficult to say, how the prices will get impacted in the subsequent few quarters. Of course, there has been a substantial impact from the third quarter of the last financial year and the last quarter of the last financial year. There has been a decline, and going forward, it's still very difficult to estimate what could be the impact. There is some additional capacity which is coming up in the domestic market, and we still have to wait and see what could be the potential impact. As you know, the demand is also going up. Industry has also started exporting methylene dichloride. We ourselves have started exporting methylene dichloride. There seems to be a good market. So all in all, we hope that will remain stable, but I think it's something which will pan out in the next 1-2 quarters as we move along.
Thanks, sir. I'll come back in queue for any further question. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Karan Shah with GC Holding. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. So a few questions from my side. Firstly, on R125. So could you quantify a ballpark number as to what could be the revenue potential from this product?
Well, I don't have an immediate answer just now, but as I mentioned that, we'll probably be able to do about 4,000 to 5,000 tons of 125 during this financial year. So, I don't have a figure as to what would be the financial impact just now.
Okay. And so what would be the overall global demand for the same? Like the market size?
I don't have a answer for that. What would be the overall demand? But whatever demand estimates which we have done and whatever customer feedback which we are getting, we should be able to do about 4,000 to 5,000 tons of exports during this current financial year.
The demand is pretty strong, and if you look at it, also the anti-dumping duty which has been announced.
Yeah. So the anti-dumping duty which has been imposed against China is also resulting into overflow of orders to us.
Okay. And sir, secondly, on fluoropolymers, so what would be our current capacity in it?
About 50, that's also been there. It's about 1550 tons per month currently.
And the new, sorry? Hello?
See, the PTFE capacity is about 1550 tons per month. And the new fluoropolymers capacity is about 700 tons per month, which, as we mentioned, is being expanded to about 1100 tons per month.
Okay. I'll join back the queue for follow-up question.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Rohit Nagraj with MK Global. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Am I audible, sir? Hello? Yeah. Yes, sir. So congratulations on good FY22 numbers. So the first question is on wind power. So last we indicated that 20 megawatts will be commissioned by March 22. So what is the current status of the same? And we had also indicated that because of the delay in Gujarat government policy, they were not able to execute the 105 megawatt which was supposed to be executed from Inox Wind. So what is the status on that? And again, in the capex, we have said that 300 crores of capex for wind power. So how all these numbers reconcile? Thank you.
See, around, as we had mentioned, around 20 megawatt is currently under commissioning. And there has been a delay, but we expect this 20 megawatt to be commissioned by beginning of July this year. And beyond that, the policy, Government of Gujarat policy for captive wind is still not been announced. What they have done is they have extended the current policy till 31st of July, and we have to still wait and see what is the final policy which they come out with. So depending upon that, to what extent it is conducive for putting up more captive wind, we'll decide how much investment is actually going to be, additional investment is going to be put in wind. And as we have already stated before, what we cannot invest in will be returned back from Inox Wind by the close of this year.
Right, sir. Got it. That was really helpful. So second question is, given that we have seen there has been an increase in the prices of all the fluoropolymers, and including PTFE, is there any kind of demand side slowdown, given that there is a lot of issues in terms of the Russia-Ukraine war and logistics issue as well as Europe issues? So are we finding any kind of slowdown from the demand perspective in any of our fluoropolymers? Thank you.
No, we are not seeing any slowdown at all. On the other hand, for some of the other polymers, there is a huge demand pull. So we are not seeing any slowdown, despite the prices being what they are.
Thank you so much, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Anand Jain, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity, sir. My first question is this, that this new capacity for FKM and PDF, FKM and PVDF that we are planning, you said will be coming on stream by Q2. Can you give me the final capacity numbers after this new capacity comes up?
Yeah, Mr. Soni just mentioned.
Yeah, I mentioned that the total new fluoropolymers are 700 tons per month, and the add-on is about 400 tons per month, which is making it total to 1100 tons per month, and this would happen by September this year.
And do we have any plans?
We are planning to further expand this capacity by another 200-300 tons before the close of this financial year.
Okay, so that was what my question was. So by end of this financial year, 1,400 to 1,500 tons capacities of new age fluoropolymers.
Yes.
Okay, that's great. The second question is, what we have seen is that, one of the Russian companies called Halo Polymers, which used to have around 10%, 10% in PTFE market worldwide, and which used to majorly export in European and American markets. Is that now out of picture because of the Russia-Ukraine issue?
The supplies from them have been hampered for sure, but they of course were not 10% of the market. They were lower. But there has been a disruption of their supplies for the granular grades of PTFE which they made.
Okay. And our PTFE capacity is going to be like after, let's say at the end of this year, from 4,500 tons that we have quarterly, how much would that go up in let's say by Q4?
Yeah, that's 200, maybe about 1,800 tons.
1,800 tons in a month.
Yeah. 1,800 tons. Just one last question from my side. What we have seen is that, this our non-PTFE capacity, the market size is, or rather the non-PTFE fluoropolymers, the market size is roughly 160 to 200,000 metric tons worldwide. And in the next 3 to 4 years, can we reach like 10-15% of this market? Do we have that as a part of our vision?
Absolutely. That is part of our plan because we have all the building blocks to increase both sales as well as production for these products. As you know, we are back integrated into 142B. That enables us to keep on expanding the capacity for these products as we keep on moving on. And as the demand keeps on increasing from the battery sector, we'll keep on expanding our capacity of PVDF.
And one question in the fluoro specialty chemical side. So what we hear we are just hearing from other people who are into fluorine chemistry. So the complexity of fluorine chemistry is probably defined by the number of fluorine atoms in the molecule. F1 to F6 kind of a range is what people generally say. If that is how it is, then if I were to understand how complex is the chemistry in a fluoro specialty chemical business, if that is the bar or that we use, how difficult is a fluoro specialty chemical business? Just to understand the entry barriers there.
No, actually, if we add number of fluorine chemicals, this battery chemical LiPF6 has got 6 fluorine chemicals. That is a special one and with special requirements for electrochemical properties. But the other fluoro intermediates which go for pharmaceuticals or for agrochemical intermediates, they have number of stages. But generally, the fluorine molecules are lesser than 6, but they are complex depending on the number of stages. In some chemicals, the stages are 7 to 8, and some they are less than 4. So the complexity is proportional to that.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Dhruv Muchal with HDFC Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir. Thank you for taking again. So one clarification firstly from your previous responses is you mentioned the PTFE capacity currently is about, so I had the PTFE number at about 20,000 ton capacity for annum. But your number is suggesting a bit lower, about 18,000 odd, and you mentioned it will increase to about 1,800 tons per month, which reflects about 21,000 tons per annum. Yet again, this is a bit lower than what was earlier, I believe, guided, which was about 25,000 tons.
Capacity was about 1,550 tons per month of PTFE, which would have been about 18,500 tons of PTFE for the entire year. And with this expansion of another 250 tons of PTFE per month, it will go up to about 21,000 tons. 21,000 tons?
22,000.
Yeah,
21,600 to be exact.
Okay. Sorry, my error. So secondly is on the specialty business, the fluoro specialty business. So what would be the gross block? And you mentioned about 600, if I'm not wrong, you mentioned 600, 700 crores full potential run rate. What would be the gross block that we have invested here, and when would this achieve, on a broader level, when do you think build in this full run rate, reaching? And any further plans that you have in that segment, please, sir?
Give me a minute. Yes, sir.
The gross block for specialty intermediates is about 600 crore.
Will be after the plant.
After the plants which we are commissioning.
Okay. And okay. And so, sir, shouldn't the revenue potential be a bit higher? If, generally, I believe the asset turns are about 1.5-ish. Or this is the number we should currently think of, 600,
This year, as Mr. Jain said, it is about 700 crore.
600.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's going to be a time lag of ramp up. So yes, next financial year we will have a full year. At that time, we are expecting that the revenue would be about 700 to 800 crores. But during this financial year, because there is a initial time it will take to ramp up capacity, it will be lower.
All right, sir. And sir, one last clarification. The PVDF plus the FKM, the expansion is PVDF is 100 tons per month and FKM is 200 tons per month. Both are coming in FY23. I believe earlier it was some bit of capacity was coming in FY24, which you have preponed now. That understanding is right, sir? Yes?
That's right.
Perfect, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thanks.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Ashish N with JM. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity and congratulations on a good set of numbers. So you mentioned about 300 crore capex on the wind power side. So is this for GFL or is it for the Inox side of it?
This is for GFL, not for the Inox side.
So you're building capacity for wind on for GFL?
Yeah, that's right, of course.
And what would be your contingent liability, including corporate guarantee for your wind business? What would be the corporate guarantee or the contingent liability on the wind side of the business on GFL? Total outstanding.
Again, by the end of this financial year, most of the corporate guarantees which have been given will be revoked.
Okay. That's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Sanjay Kula with Acme Private Limited. Please go ahead.
Okay. So first of all, compliments to you for delivering excellent results. I have a few questions. Considering strong demand in our businesses, any price hikes have been affected by the company in other polymers like FKM or fluoro specialty chemicals and fluorochemicals, sir, in the last 2-3 months?
Yeah, well, in the polymer business, we have going ahead with further price increases because the demand is very strong for FKM, PVDF, micropowders, etc. We are going ahead with further price increases.
Could you please give the quantums and how much price increases?
See, it's difficult to give a number. It will vary from grade to grade, but it'll be a double-digit increase.
Okay, sir. And what's the top line growth do you see in the current year?
Yeah.
Top line growth in current year.
So
expected.
What it is in line with what we guided earlier as well. So we are looking at in FY23 around 20-25% growth over the previous year. And we stay by those numbers. And these numbers, with all the additional capacities that we are preponing, this could only look upwards.
Okay. what will be the revenue potential of FKM in the current year and the next year, in the current year, FY23 and FY24? Because we see very strong demand coming in FKM fluoropolymers.
Well, it's difficult to say, but yeah, our production capacities are going up significantly in FKM. Prices have also gone up, and they are firming up even now. So I think it'll be maybe about $100 million.
Okay, that's very good number, sir. And sir, any challenges or impediments that could probably hamper demand scenario in our businesses going forward?
See, Sanjay, it's difficult to say at this point of time. The demand is strong across most of our businesses. So I don't see any great headwinds at this point of time, other than MDC, which we said that because of additional capacity which is coming up, there could be some pressure on prices going forward. But in the fluoropolymer business, which is including both PTFE and non-PTFE fluoropolymers, the demand remains quite robust, and we don't see any headwinds at this point of time.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Aman Veech with Astute Investment Management. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. My questions are related to the new fluoropolymer business. Firstly, if you can talk about the current realization of, say, PFA and FEP, as well as LiPF6.
Regarding PFA and FEP, we have given the overall capacity utilization of new fluoropolymers, which include these two. So
the prices of PFA would be somewhere around $35 at this point of time.
And sir, for FEP will be?
FEP is a small component, it's nothing very large. It's, I think, about $25 odd. So that's a very small component, not doing much of FEP at this time.
And LiPF6, what is the current realization in the market?
So the current realization in the market is of two types. One is the spot, which is about $70, and other is a contract, which is about $50. But these are subject to change because these are also dependent on the current spike in the demand and the raw material prices. So on a long-term basis, maybe $30 or so would be the price.
Would be a fair price.
Yeah, would be a reasonable price to assume.
And sir, for the other fluoropolymers, for example, PFA and PVDF, you had explained nicely last time the realization are like 2 to 3x up. So what should we assume as a long-term stable number? Should we assume around $30? Should we assume around $20, $25?
I think that's crystal ball guidance, but can't really be sure. Can't say. But I think PVDF and FKM, the prices will remain firm because the global demand is expanding, and especially PVDF because the huge growth which we foresee coming in from lithium-ion batteries, it should keep the prices fairly buoyant in the years to come.
You had talked about the overall increase in capacity of 600 to 700 tons. So, sir, broadly, if you can divide it into FKM will be increased by, say, 300 ton, PVDF by 200 or 300. Is my understanding correct?
Yeah, PVDF will be expanded by 300 tons during this financial year, and FKM will be expanded by 300 to 400 tons during this financial year. The good thing is that we have the starting raw material, which is 142B.
Sure, sir. So, sir, the global market of these two products are roughly around 50,000 tons each, and we are like almost nothing as of now. is the global market growing suddenly this fast, or are we taking market share? The capacities of other players have gone out. If you can explain, what is driving, according to you, this demand?
So see, for PVDF, the demand is being driven, of course, in the current sectors in which PVDF has been in use. But the major demand spike is coming in from lithium-ion batteries.
So you are seeing the whole pie of 50,000, 60,000 ton market globally is itself growing at, let's say, 15-20% now. Is that what is happening?
Perhaps more. Perhaps more.
So, sir, shouldn't we, now we have this backward integration, the gas issue is no more, shouldn't we be expanding at a much faster rate given?
No. I think this is fine. What we are doing is fine because, again, in the next year, we will be putting up additional capacities. So, these are reactor by reactor. This is not one single plant which we have to put up. So, we will just keep on adding more and more reactors as we see the demand going up. There's no point in putting up too much capacity ahead of the demand. It takes us about 6 months to put up an additional 100-ton PVDF reactor. So, we are fine-tuning it to the increased requirements in the market.
Yeah, but the strong demand, does it suggest that, say, every year we can increase our capacities by 50%? Obviously, first we need to fulfill the current capacities, but given the strong demand, this is how you are thinking in terms of FKM and
We certainly are expecting that we'll keep on putting capexes in every year on enhancing our capacities of PVDF and other battery chemicals because we expect strong demand. The demand going up fairly at a very good pace in the next decade.
So when you talked about 300 crore capex, you are assuming as of now only 400 ton per month increase, right? The additional 300, 400 will require another 300, 400 crore. Is my understanding right?
Sorry, I didn't get you. Can you repeat your question?
So, sir, you had given a split of 1150 crore capex that we are doing this year, right? So the 300 crore number you had mentioned for the new fluoropolymer. So this only includes the additional 400 ton from the additional. You have talked about one more capex which will be preponing. So that capex number is still not included, or we have included it some place else?
No, it is included. No, the number here is higher. No, our earlier estimate was 900 crore. Now it is 1150 crore. So this 250 crore addition is due to advancing the capacity into this year.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of the question and answer session. And now I would like to hand over the conference over to the management for closing remarks.
We would like to thank you all for your interest in the company, and we look forward to your continued participation on these earning update calls in future also. Thank you very much.
Thank you. On behalf of DAM Capital Advisors Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us today, and you may now disconnect your lines.
Yeah, thank you.